Ladies and gents, yesterday night, Chris Abroad with his channel Abroad in Japan came out with a video talking about being scammed in Tokyo. Like, oh my god, does it really happen? Because we actually have a really low crime rate. Yeah, you can literally get scammed everywhere around the world. It doesn't matter whether it is Tokyo, Amsterdam, Turkey, whatever, it's happening everywhere. Where there is a tourist, there's always someone who's willing to grab out a little bit more of that money, that juicy little money that you have anyway planned for your holidays, because hey, you want to spend it, they know it, and they are fully aware of it. Watching yesterday's video, I was really interested in it because I love watching videos and ideas on how people get scammed globally. I like to travel. I like to be aware of all the situations happening in different countries. What are the different scams happening in different countries, different cities, maybe even different streets? I don't know how specific they can go, but they do really exist. While watching yesterday's video, I just wanted to say that I ended up watching it and I basically ran away with it with a bit of a weird feeling. I didn't really understand what he was trying to convince here, but what I understand from Chris Abroad was that he was actually selling the wrong message. Now, for the people who don't know what this video was about, he was basically saying that, hey, there are these people on the street in Tokyo that will lure you into a restaurant, lure you into a cafe or something like that, have a drink with them for a very low fee, but all of a sudden you get drugged, you lose a lot of money, you don't know what happens. Now, it is true that these things happen. These scams do happen. They really just get you in there and then boom, your money is gone. But it didn't really explain more than that. It didn't really go into depth and say how threatening is this situation, what can actually happen. Well, while watching, I actually came to realization that I remember a Dutch journalist. I don't know if you know him, but his name is Kees van der Spek. He's basically a journalist that really goes into scams. His idea of making television is all about revealing how scams actually work, become the victim, understand what is the A to Z progress to actually get scammed, because it educates people on, okay, like what are the things you have to watch out for. This is the one thing that I think Chris Abroad did a little bit wrong here, because he's sending the wrong message at the very end. But for now, I just want to go and explain what actually happens on one of these scams. Like this guy, the journalist, Kees van der Spek, actually made a full video explaining how the scam works from beginning to end. So let's watch a little bit of it together and maybe compare it as well to Chris Abroad's video to basically see where was he right and where is he wrong. So the first thing that I realized, and I have to put down the sound here because it's all going to be in Dutch. And again, if you're Dutch, you're quite lucky, you can understand it. But if you do want to watch this video, I'm going to put it down below. It's a 5 episodes because they had to split it up on YouTube. But basically, the first thing that Chris Abroad never mentions actually in Tokyo, what they actually have there, are that there are these signs in these heavily touristic places, which basically says, do not tag along with people. And also, you're not allowed to be tagged along. You can get in trouble for it. In other words, they are telling people like, hey, don't do it. But at the same time, it's more of a warning for tourists to say, hey, if you get tagged along, maybe open up your eyes. It's something that you need to be aware of. And this is a really good point as well. Like, this is something that Chris Abroad doesn't talk about. I'm not really sure if the signs are still there, but it is still something to mention. It's something that is worth mentioning if you are a tourist in Japan. So here we actually come to the last part of the video. Well, it's not really the last video. It's basically, they basically understand now how the full scam works and they want to become the victim. They want to be grabbed into this circle and see what actually happens to it. Now with Chris, he actually mentions with one of their stories. And again, it's not his story. He actually got one of these stories from one of his viewers, at least I would presume. And it's basically about them being drugged and then all of a sudden they just got all their cards swiped and they lost around 6K. In other words, $6,000, which is a lot of money for Tokyo. That's a lot of money to spend. But anyway, if we watch this scam, the first thing that is correct on the entire story is that someone from most likely an African background will come to you and start talking about you. Here you can really see with the subtitles that for 5,000 yen you can get half an hour unlimited drinks, which is very, very attractive. They're very talkative. They will lead you up to a very scary alleyway. Now, I watched this episode, by the way, around 5-6 times, like a lot of times. But the number one thing that you need to watch out for, that when these people invite you, is that they always invite you to a place which has a bit of a weird entrance. In this case, we can see, okay, there's already a stairs, which is actually quite normal in Tokyo. You always have to also elevate a little bit, to have fun. But the first thing is that they invite you to a place where there is something, it's a little bit, you feel a little bit narrowed, you feel like you're going to be stuck. But the biggest vital important part is that they actually invite you to a place where you need access with an elevator, meaning there's only one way up and one way down, which is always very scary unless you know the building. And as a tourist, most likely you won't. you will not know how to get out elsewhere. So the elevator is the only way and your only chance to escape, if anything. And again, you can see it, they're promoting with the women. It's a gentleman's club. We're going already somewhere which is a little bit more exotic. Let's actually go a little bit further into the club, because then they go upstairs. They're still talking. Again, look at this door, for example. You can see that there's a security door and everything. Actually gets very interesting here, because it actually gets pretty sad, because this guy is trying to promote you a massive party, a good time and everything. But then all of a sudden, there's literally no one in the club. You are the only customer. That is already quite a big sign to say, like, hey, get the fuck out of there. It's a little bit scary. Okay? And you can also understand him a little bit as well. He's actually talking English here because, hey, they speak English. But like he already says, it's quite small. And also you can see that they're always trying to convince you to sit down and get your seat, because once the first drink starts rolling, they got you. This is the moment where they actually have you in their grasp. And because he does know how the scam works, he actually wants to just stay there, see what's going to happen, and actually see it. He knows that he's being scammed already, okay? Because he is recording everything with a secret camera. And then over here, you have basically another victim of someone who is being scammed as well. Also a tourist, like he already says. And then it gets already into the weird part. Also, what we already saw with Chris Abroad's video, we already saw that the people all of a sudden started inviting themselves to your table. Most likely it's going to be women, and they're going to hit on you. Because, hey, it's a gentleman's club, It's not really a normal bar. And it's actually quite scary. It's a really scary experience to actually see this happening. Then you can see already the guy in the back here. He's being really just falling in love with the situation. He has no idea what's happening. He has no idea what's going on until the very end. It's quite a scary experience to see this also being filmed. Because again, if you don't know better, it can be very scary. So at this moment, the journalist actually started to talk to the other gentleman. He wanted to know what is going on. He also wanted to secure him, like, hey, you're being scammed. You have to watch out a little bit. So he just starts having a small talk with him. And you can really see, like, he's from, I think he was from Norway or somewhere. And he says that he's very confused, he's very unsure, and he's very depressed about the entire situation and what's happening. And the perfect victim, And then here already you can see that, hey, come over, let's talk together.
What's happening here, my friend?
Well, this is the first time I went to some place like this.
So most likely the first time going to a gentleman's club. Maybe something did happen in his life and he was just looking for an excuse, to just blow his mind away for the night. That's totally fine. Sadly, it just ended up in the wrong place.
Men is niet van gediend dat ik met een andere klant praat.
So here, basically, one of the security men come over. They tend to be quite big, and then they tell them, like, hey, do not talk to the other customer.
Oh, but he wants to talk to me. I don't mind if he talks to me. It's a free country.
It's quite scary. Like, this is quite intimidating, actually, And here he already got that, to say, like, hey, I'm trying to save you, And the other guy's like, okay.
En deze jongen.
Very sad, actually. Like, this is quite more intimidating than what I saw from Chris Abroad. Chris Abroad's story, it seems like they were just missing a lot of chapters of the book, but here you can literally see it visually. So, like I said, these doors, okay, these small little clubs, you have the elevator where you have to go up, you have the elevator you need to go down. But what is the one thing that is standing in front of the doors? A very big muscled guy. In this case, this gentleman that we see here. I mean, you can just see how big he is. You see, it's quite a scary situation. We can just go forward, actually, because what happens is that he's trying to talk his way out of it, trying to get the other guy out as well, make sure that no one gets paid. And
It's a really freaky day.
I really feel sad for the young gentleman, like he's literally thinking, okay, I'm going to have the time of my life, but sadly it was just completely the wrong way. Also here, again, they try to make you drunk. They maybe even put a little bit of a sedative in the drinks to make them feel even more calmer. And also the money is completely gone,
free drinks there. See, yeah, okay, we have a free drink over there. Maar het is duidelijk.
So here again, the security comes over, free drinks, but you cannot talk to each other or unless you sit apart from each other. A little bit of a weird story. I know, again, by this moment, once you're inside, once you already started having your first drink, it's already over. It's game over. It's really hard to get out of the scenario. But what is very important to remember is that, hey, you got scammed. This is the biggest no-go already. And the best scenario, you shouldn't even be in this stage yet. You should have seen those red flags from the very beginning. Again, just trying to talk his way through it, trying to get him from sitting apart from each other. And then lastly, what they want to do is that they wants to go. And then they started fighting, the aggression is starting going, and you have to remember, if you're someone who's quite small and you don't have a lot of power behind you, someone like this is really, really intimidating. Anyway, here they try to escape, they try to go through it, and to say, look, we want to talk and we want to go, and all of a sudden it just goes into quite a negative scenario where everyone gets kicked out of the club. Actually, I did find another clip here, the last part of the entire thing. So what actually happened here is that you can see that the guy is very aggressive, the bouncer, let's say, and the kid is locked inside right now. He is literally locked inside, no way out. You got this big guy in front of the door. You're not coming out. It's that simple. It's very, very intimidating. Again, if you want to watch this into your own piece, make sure you click that link below because I'm just going to put the link there. A little later, actually, they come back again. They said they want to get the kid out of there because he's going to lose a lot of money. They don't know what's going to happen to it. He even might up ending up dead. Like, think about it. It's quite a scary situation here. They come out, they escape. Everyone goes to their hotels. You know, everyone is happy, actually. But what this is trying to demonstrate is that how scary this entire situation can be. And this is the scary situations that I just didn't predict that heavily with the video from abroad in Japan. Maybe because it's a little bit explicit, maybe it's a little bit too detailed, but I still think it is worth mentioning something like this to the international environment, to the international viewers out there, especially for people who don't speak Dutch. I think this is something only visible to the Dutch viewers. So basically, as you can see, this scenario is a little bit scarier than what is actually being told on Chris's channel. I'm not saying his video is bad, I just think it basically says a little bit of a wrong story where it all seems much easier than what it is. The people got drugged, they woke up, all of a sudden all the money was gone. They didn't even explain to how they actually got out of the club or what actually happened, and maybe that's because they already lost all their money. I cannot say, but what I can say is that you should have maybe just included something like this because these guys do not mess around. You could see in the video that these people that lure you into the club, they are not too nice. You know, they lure you into a sketchy place. When again, if you have to go up by an elevator, you're already locked inside. You cannot come out. It's quite a scary place to be in, and you should not even get into those scenarios. The one part where I think Chris got it completely wrong, and this is something that I actually learned from this journalist, is that it isn't about saying no to these people. I'm not saying that everyone in the world is bad. No one is bad. But if someone, one of these guys, comes to you in any place of the world, whether it is Tokyo, Seoul, New York, wherever you are traveling, the importance is that you need to test them as well. If they suggest that you should go to a bar and have a drink, no, it should not be that simple. You should suggest a place like, hey, if you really want to have something, let's go to McDonald's, let's go to this bar that I know. You should only go to a place where you know you can feel safe. And that is the golden trick. If they say no and they just really want you to go to this one particular bar because of free drinks or anything like that, that's an instant no-go. You should be the one also asking questions. Don't be silly and be dragged along into any scenario because that isn't how they catch you. This is how they catch you, vulnerable people, and bring you to a place, and all of a sudden you lose a couple €1,000 or you might not even come out alive. It's a quite scary situation, but like I say, this is the thing that Chris should have said. Make sure you play around a little bit with them, or because people ask you silly questions and they want to know a little bit more about you. It doesn't really mean that they are bad. It just means that maybe they are curious. I've met enough people on the streets as well that were really nice people. They just wanted to know a little bit about where I come from, where I study, and then it was goodbye and everyone was happy. But if someone was luring me into a place, again, maybe make your own suggestion, go to a place where you feel safe, and that is the golden key to survival, especially when you're a tourist in another country. But Chris, I do want to thank you if you did watch this video. I am really happy that you still made it. I think it's a very important topic, and also you apologize for doing it so late. But then maybe next time as well, maybe just don't say that everyone in Japan is bad, because it doesn't matter. People can also be good. It only takes that one wrong person to give that wrong image. But in all honesty, a lot of people are fine. Just make sure that you hold the cards, and guys, guys, happy travels. I hope to go to Japan soon as well, but I'll see you on the next video.